উন্নয়ন হলো চলমান প্রক্রিয়া। উন্নয়নের ধারণাটি সময়ের সাথে সাথে অঞ্চলভেদে পৃথক হয়। দর্শক, দেশের সার্বিক উন্নয়ন, সমস্যা ও সম্ভাবনা নিয়ে আমাদের নিয়মিত আয়োজন উন্নয়নে বাংলাদেশ। আপনাদের সাথে আছি আমি মানসুর। স্বাধীনতার এই 50 বছরে বাংলাদেশকে বিভিন্ন প্রতিকূলতা অতিক্রম করে আজকের এই অবস্থানে আসতে হয়েছে। বাংলাদেশের নানা সংকট ও উন্নয়নে পাশে পেয়েছে বন্ধুপ্রতিম বিভিন্ন দেশ ও সংস্থাকে। তেমনই একটি বন্ধুপ্রতিম দেশ জাপান। 1972 সালের 10ই ফেব্রুয়ারি বাংলাদেশ ও জাপানের মধ্যে কূটনৈতিক সম্পর্ক শুরু হয়। জাপানের সাথে বাংলাদেশের সম্পর্ক ও কী অবদান রাখছে বাংলাদেশের উন্নয়নে, তা নিয়ে একটি বিশেষ প্রতিবেদন দেখাবো আপনাদের।
চারিদিকে 9 মাসের যুদ্ধের ধ্বংসযজ্ঞের ছাপ, অবকাঠামো বলতে কিছুই নেই, সবখানে জেঁকে বসেছে ক্ষুধা ও দারিদ্র্যের কষাঘাত। এই ছিল সদ্য স্বাধীন বাংলাদেশের বাস্তবতা। ঠিক সেই মুহূর্তে অকৃত্রিম মিত্রতা নিয়ে কয়েকটি দেশ এসে দাঁড়িয়েছিল বাংলাদেশের পাশে। এর মধ্যে অন্যতম ছিল জাপান। 1972 সালের 10 ফেব্রুয়ারি বাংলাদেশকে স্বীকৃতি দেয় দেশটি। এর পরদিনই দুই দেশ একে অন্যের রাজধানীতে দূতাবাস স্থাপন করে। তবে রাষ্ট্রীয় পর্যায়ে জাপান বাংলাদেশ মিত্রতার ভিত্তিটি গড়ে দিয়েছিলেন জাতির জনক বঙ্গবন্ধু শেখ মুজিবুর রহমান। 1973 সালে টোকিও সফরে যান বঙ্গবন্ধু। এরপর থেকে দেশের উন্নয়ন খাতে জাপানের অংশগ্রহণ ক্রমেই বেড়েছে। 80 দশকের মধ্যেই বাংলাদেশে অনুদানদাতা দেশগুলোর মধ্যে শীর্ষস্থানে উঠে আসে জাপান।
বাংলাদেশ জাপান তাদের মধ্যে দ্বিপাক্ষিক সম্পর্কের এই 50 বছর পূর্তি উদযাপন করছে। ফলে এখন একটি বলা যায় যে বহুমাত্রিক এবং একটি সর্বাত্মক একটি অংশীদারিত্ব জাপানের সঙ্গে আমাদের আছে। জাপান সবসময়ই এই ক্ষেত্রে অগ্রণী ভূমিকা পালন করেছে। এই মুহূর্তে আমরা ঢাকা মেট্রো উদ্বোধনের অপেক্ষায় আছি, যেটি জাপানের প্রতিষ্ঠান জাইকা সেটি অর্থায়ন করেছে। একই সঙ্গে আমরা জানি যে হযরত শাহজালাল আলী আন্তর্জাতিক বিমানবন্দর, সেটির 3য় টার্মিনাল জাপান নির্মাণ করছে। এবং সবচেয়ে গুরুত্বপূর্ণ, যার মাধ্যমে বাংলাদেশ একটা নতুন একটি পরিচয় পেতে যাচ্ছে পুরো অঞ্চলে, সেটি হচ্ছে মাতারবাড়ি যে প্রকল্প। সেখানে আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি যে একদিকে জাপান আমাদেরকে একটি নতুন সমুদ্র বন্দর প্রতিষ্ঠায় সহযোগিতা করছে। আমাদের বিদ্যুৎ বা জ্বালানি সংকট দূর করার জন্য সেখানে জ্বালানির যে প্ল্যান্ট হচ্ছে, এবং একই সঙ্গে কানেক্টিভিটির একটি গুরুত্বপূর্ণ হাব হিসাবে বাংলাদেশকে প্রতিষ্ঠা করার পেছনে জাপানের বড় ধরনের অবদান আছে।
জাপানের সংস্থা জাইকা 1972 সাল থেকে বাংলাদেশ সরকারের সাথে উন্নয়ন সহযোগী হিসেবে জড়িত রয়েছে। জাইকার সহযোগিতায় নির্মিতব্য মেট্রো রেল ঢাকাবাসীর যানজটমুক্ত যাতায়াতের ভূমিকা রাখবে।
মেট্রো রেল এখন স্বপ্ন নয়, সত্যি। মেট্রো রেলে চলাচল করতে পারবে ঢাকাবাসী, যানজটের ভোগান্তি থেকে মুক্তি পাবে তারা।
মেট্রো রেল পুরোপুরি বিদ্যুৎ চালিত রেল। বাংলাদেশে এই প্রথম বিদ্যুৎ চালিত কোনো রেল চালু হতে যাচ্ছে। মেট্রো রেলের পুরো প্রকল্পে খরচ হবে প্রায় 22,000 কোটি টাকা, যার মধ্যে জাপানের আন্তর্জাতিক সাহায্য সংস্থা জাইকা দিচ্ছে প্রায় 17,000 কোটি টাকা। বর্তমানে জাইকা বাংলাদেশে 3টি বিভাগে দুর্যোগ ব্যবস্থাপনার কাজ করে থাকে, যেমন ঘূর্ণিঝড় মোকাবেলা, বন্যা ব্যবস্থাপনা ও ভূমিকম্প জনিত দুর্যোগ ঝুঁকি হ্রাস।
দর্শক, আমি আসছি এখন আবহাওয়া অফিসে। গত 10 বছরে বাংলাদেশ দুর্যোগ মোকাবেলায় যে সক্ষমতা দেখিয়েছে তা দেশে বিদেশে প্রশংসিত হয়েছে। আমরা জানার চেষ্টা করব প্রযুক্তির দিক দিয়ে বাংলাদেশ কতটুকু এগিয়েছে।
প্রযুক্তির দিক যেমন বলতে পারি আমি যে ইনফরমেশন অ্যান্ড কমিউনিকেশন টেকনোলজির ব্যবহার বিশেষ করে আবহাওয়া পূর্বাভাসে বৃদ্ধি পেয়েছে। এই হিসেবে যেমন আমরা আগে সুপার কম্পিউটিং ব্যবহার জানা ছিল না, সেটি আবহাওয়া অধিদপ্তরে এখন ব্যবহৃত হচ্ছে। যে স্যাটেলাইট এবং র্যাডারের, বিশেষ করে হিমাওয়ারি স্যাটেলাইট যেটি আমরা জাপান থেকে পেয়ে থাকি, সেই ডাটাকে সুপার কম্পিউটারে ব্যবহারের সক্ষমতা অর্জন করেছি। এটি আগে ছিল না, কেননা জাপান আমাদেরকে প্রযুক্তিগত সকল সহযোগিতা দিয়ে যাচ্ছে।
জাইকা এ পর্যন্ত 5টি অত্যাধুনিক রাডার স্থাপন করেছে ও আবহাওয়া অধিদপ্তরের কর্মকর্তাদের বিভিন্ন রকম কারিগরি সহায়তা দিয়েছে, যার মাধ্যমে আবহাওয়া অধিদপ্তর এখন অনেক দ্রুত ও নির্ভুল আগাম সতর্কবার্তা তৈরি ও প্রেরণ করতে পারে।
আমরা দেখছি যে জাপানের যে বিভিন্ন সংস্থা এবং জাপান সরকার বাংলাদেশে বিনিয়োগে অত্যন্ত আগ্রহী এবং তারা মনে করছে যে চীন থেকে বের হয়ে তারা যে সমস্ত দেশগুলোতে তারা বিনিয়োগ করতে চায় সেখানে বাংলাদেশ হচ্ছে অন্যতম। ফলে এই যে জাপানের যে আস্থা আমাদের বিনিয়োগ পরিবেশের ব্যাপারে এবং সেটির জন্য আমাদের দরকার যে এক ধরনের রাজনৈতিক স্থিতিশীলতা দরকার। আমাদের বিভিন্ন নীতি নির্ধারণের ক্ষেত্রে জাপানের যে প্রকল্পগুলো আছে বা জাপানের সঙ্গে আমাদের যে ধরনের দ্বিপাক্ষিক সিদ্ধান্তগুলো সেগুলো বাস্তবায়ন প্রয়োজন। আরেকটি বিষয় গুরুত্বপূর্ণ যে জাপানে আমরা জানি যে বাংলাদেশের মানব সম্পদের ব্যাপক চাহিদা আছে, বিশেষ করে আইটি সেক্টরে একটি বড় একটি সুযোগ আছে। ফলে বাংলাদেশ কিভাবে জাপানে আরও বেশি মানব সম্পদ রপ্তানি করা বা মানব সম্পদের সেই দেশে কাজে লাগানোর চেষ্টা করা সেইখানে বাংলাদেশকে এগিয়ে আসতে হবে।
জাপান বাংলাদেশের মধ্যকার এই হৃদ্যতা সম্পর্ক উন্নয়নের গুরুত্বপূর্ণ ভূমিকা রেখেছে ঢাকায় নিযুক্ত জাপানের মান্যবর রাষ্ট্রদূত ইতো নাওকি। জাপান সরকার 2020 সালে বাংলাদেশকে প্রথমবারের মতো 320 মিলিয়ন মার্কিন ডলারের বাজেট সহায়তা ঋণ প্রদান করেছে এবং সেই সামঞ্জস্যতায় 365 মিলিয়ন মার্কিন ডলারের কোভিড-19 ক্রাইসিস রেসপন্স ইমার্জেন্সি সাপোর্ট লোন ফেজ 2 করোনা মোকাবেলায় যে অবদান রাখে তা স্মরণীয় হয়ে থাকবে। টিকা প্রদান সহ নানাভাবে সহায়তা প্রদান করে জাপানের মান্যবর রাষ্ট্রদূত ইতো নাওকি। এই বিশ্ব মহামারী করোনা মোকাবেলায় যে গুরুত্বপূর্ণ ভূমিকা রেখেছে তা বাংলাদেশের মানুষ কৃতজ্ঞতা ভরে স্মরণ করবে।
আমরা সবসময় বন্ধু হিসাবে বাংলাদেশের পাশে আছি।
দর্শক, আজ আমাদের স্টুডিওতে উপস্থিত আছেন বাংলাদেশে নিযুক্ত জাপানের রাষ্ট্রদূত ইতো নাওকি। চলুন কথা বলি অতিথির সাথে। ভেরি ওয়েলকাম, ইউর এক্সেলেন্সি।
Having me on your show. Thank you so much. I'm honored. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Your Excellency, please give your views on the bilateral relationship between Bangladesh and Japan.
Japan and Bangladesh have been time-tested friends. Japan recognized Bangladesh 50 years ago. Japan recognized your country as a sovereign nation on February the 10th, 1972. I think since then, the two countries have built really wonderful partnership, friendship, cooperation with the mutual efforts, so to speak. So I would say that the Japan-Bangladesh relationship is a very wonderful, amicable situation, and I'm really optimistic about the future of our partnership, yes.
Bangladesh and Japan relations, kindly provide a brief overview to contribution to growth of Bangladesh.
I think Japan has been a good development partner for Bangladesh since the inception of the country. But first, I think private companies started its business operations mainly in Chittagong area immediately after the independence, or even before the independence. Some of the trading companies have been very active and setting up their own offices in Chittagong and build very wonderful business partnership with Bangladesh companies in the field of, say, chemical, in the field of steel, machine import, or even shipbuilding and so forth. So I think that was the start of business partnership between Japan and Bangladesh. And then I think a very symbolic thing was immediately after Bongo Bondu's visit to Japan, which took place October 1973. It was a very epoch-making visit, no doubt about that. Bongo Bondu's visit laid a foundation of the subsequent cooperation between the two countries. And also, January in 1974, Japan Chamber of Commerce and Industry sent a mission to Bangladesh. Very high-powered mission, about 20 top executives across the board. So they visited various parts of Bangladesh, starting from Dhaka, Chittagong, Kumira, Sirhat, Sundarban, everywhere. And they really had a clear idea what Bangladesh needs, what Japan can do for the development of Bangladesh, particularly through the cooperation from the private sector. I think that really moved forward, this cooperation, the ground of cooperation between the two countries. And after that, you know that there are very symbolic cooperation through our official development assistance. The very notable example is this Jamuna bridge construction. This was initiated from the visit of Bangabandhu. It took about 20 years, but Jamuna Bridge is a very well-known project as Japan's cooperation. Also, the Shonarugan Hotel, this is also part of Japan's collaboration. So now Japan is working on even bigger project, mega infrastructure project like Dhaka Metro, even this airport Terminal 3 extension, Matabari deep sea port construction, and Dhaka Metro Line 6 will start its commercial operation in December. I'm sure that that will be very much welcomed by citizens of Dhaka, because that will change the lifestyle of people in Dhaka. That is going to be the first electrified public transportation system in Dhaka. So I'm sure that the Dhaka Metro will be the new face of the nation and the capital. And on top of that, I must say that some of the Japanese companies are making investment in, say, export processing zone in Karunafuri, Chittagong, or Adamzi, Dhaka, and other places. So they are really
recently
making...
started also Narayanganj district.
Narayanganj one is Arai Hajal. That is a special economic zone. So that is joint venture between Beza and Japanese company Sumitomo. So they formed a joint venture to run, manage, operate the special economic zone in the name of BSEZ, Bangladesh Special Economic Zone. It's not Japanese Special Economic Zone.
Right.
It's called Bangladesh Special Economic Zone, constructed by Japanese company with the assistance of JICA. So this is going to be, I'm sure, that one of the best special economic zones in this country. And this special economic zone will be opening in December. So after that, Japanese as well as international company will be ready to operate there. So at earliest, sometime in March, April, some companies will start operating in Arai Hajal. I'm sure that this is going to be a very important game changer for the business partnership between Japan and Bangladesh. With the creation of this special economic zone in Arai Hajal, increasing number of Japanese companies will show interest in Bangladesh as a frontier of investment. And I hope that this Arai Hajal BSEZ will be the best special economic zone in terms of facility infrastructure. So as well as collaboration from the foreign government and foreign company. So I hope that Arai Hajal will attract eventually 100 companies with the value of 10 billion US dollars worth investment there.
You stated lots of projects developing, working in Bangladesh. So how do you assess Japan's role developing in economy in Bangladesh?
I think it's a long history of collaboration between Japan and Bangladesh. But I would say that started with agricultural development, because agriculture sector is a key of the development of Bangladesh. And we have this similarity, the rice cultivation, fish eating culture. That is something Japanese people and Bangladesh people have in common. So we sent this Japanese overseas cooperation volunteer, the JICA volunteer, you might say. But initially, they are really into those rural, local communities for agricultural development, as well as community development in rural areas. Then also some of the non-governmental organization, which has a very, very long history. So 50-year history of collaboration is held by one of the non-governmental organizations, which is called Shapla Neil. So JOCV, the NGO, they did very wonderful collaboration on community building, rural area development, agricultural development. And the government also provided some cooperation for the organizations like BARI, Bangladesh Agriculture Research Institute, or even agricultural university. So those institutions benefited by the collaboration of the Japanese side. And at the same time, we provided some cooperation for human resources development, capacity building of the people, because we know the importance of human resources. So both Japan and Bangladesh are not in abundant in terms of resources, natural resources, energy resources, but we have a good human resources. That's also another commonality,
Right.
similarity between the two countries. So Japan has been successful in a way by providing resources for human resources development through education, technical, vocational education and training. We hope that Bangladesh can learn from those Japanese experience of economic development, and that's why Japan focused this human resources development when we do provide collaboration and cooperation for Bangladesh. So over the last 50 years, I think Japanese cooperation, collaboration designed to meet the requirement of the times of Bangladesh. So that is why now we are more focusing on mega infrastructure, those infrastructure of transportation in the city capital of Dhaka. And we dubbed this project Big B, Bay of Bengal Industrial Growth Corridor. So that was initiated by two prime ministers back in 2014 between Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and the late Shinzo Abe. So they came up with the idea of importance of building industrial corridor between Dhaka, Chattogram and Cox's Bazar. So along with this line, we have been focusing our cooperation on mega infrastructure development. Now, annually, Japan, JICA has been providing 3 billion worth official development assistance on a commitment basis. So this is a very, very high level of cooperation. In the world, only Bangladesh and India are receiving this level of cooperation in terms of ODA from Japan. This clearly shows that Japan is really keen to promote Bangladesh growth. Also, there is a high potential of economic growth in Bangladesh and increasing requirement of infrastructure development in Bangladesh. So Japan will continue to stand by Bangladesh in its development journey.
Your Excellency, in terms of long-term relationship, what is the main achievement of bilateral relationship of between Bangladesh and Japan?
This friendship between the two countries.
Is the main achievement.
This is the main achievement. And we respect Bangladesh, Bangladesh people, and Bangladesh people are so friendly to Japan, friendly to Japanese people. So this is an advantage we have. So any Japanese who comes to Bangladesh really appreciates. So Bengali hospitality is known to be the best hospitality in the world. But I must say that I think that is a great advantage for Japanese people, Japanese companies who come here to do business, to do work. So I'm sure that with those background, Japanese companies continue to be willing to come to Bangladesh.
What is the bilateral trade scenario between Japan and Bangladesh?
Now, the Japan exports about 2 billion US dollars. Bangladesh exports about 1 billion US dollars. But this fiscal year, the BGMEA said that most likely your textile export will reach 2 billion. In 2030, they forecast that textile export from Bangladesh, Japan will reach 10 billion US dollars. So this is a very hopeful scenario of expansion of trade from Bangladesh to Japan. So at the moment, I think the textile RMG is a mainstay of export. But down the line, I'm sure that you can diversify the sectors of export from Bangladesh to Japan. And on top of that, we talked about this Arai Hajar Special Economic Zone.
Right.
Increasing number of Japanese companies will make investment there. So the more investment comes from Japan, that more trade will be done on mutual basis between Japan and Bangladesh. So down the line, I do expect that the increasing figure of both import and export, two directions, will be going on. So I do really hope that our trade will be more or less balanced with the increase of export from here to there. Also, with the increase of investment, more import will be coming from Japan. But trade will expand, but that should be mutually balanced.
Your Excellency, what steps should be taken for strengthening trade relations between Bangladesh and Japan?
I think very important thing is that the Bangladesh government try to focus on expanding business partnership with Japan. I think that's very, very important part that government can do. Then, as a framework between the two countries, a free trade agreement, economic partnership agreement needs to be in place. So as Bangladesh graduates, you need the new trading regimes, frameworks with major trading companies. So Japan is not an exception. So Bangladesh needs to maintain this zero tariff status vis-a-vis its export to Japan. But Japanese side may like to see some of the areas tariff reductions. But with the agreement of economic partnership, the agreement between the two countries, we can achieve that. I think this is a very, very important first step. And after that, bilateral free trade agreement, if Bangladesh can join regional framework of economic partnership, RCEP, RCEP, that is a region-wide framework, including 10 ASEAN countries, Japan, China, Korea, Australia, New Zealand. So if Bangladesh can accede to this framework of free trade, then Bangladesh will have a very important advantage of market integration, so supply chain integration. So that should be very, very beneficial, even for the trade between Japan and Bangladesh.
Right. How do you look the Japan's special economic zone in Bangladesh?
In November, this Arai Hajar Bangladesh Special Economic Zone will be opening. So this is the first special economic zone designed and built by Japan and Japanese companies. But Japanese companies and Japanese side are looking at even more special economic zone. Another possibility is this Mirshorai, part of Bangabandhu Sripinagal special economic zone. So one Japanese trading house is looking at the possibility of developing Mirshorai special economic zone. And in the future, we will be also looking at the possibility of having another special economic zone in Matabali, because we are now constructing the first ever deep sea port of the country in Matabali. So Matabali deep sea port construction will be entailed by the development of economic zone. So naturally, we should have special economic zone in Matabali. Then Japanese side will be keen to promote and develop a Matabali special economic zone. You have this plan to construct 100 special economic zones across the country. So Japan's role may be very small, but we will be keen to promote the idea of facilitating special economic zone to attract more FDIs. So step by step, hop, step, jump manner. But first, we will focus our attention and efforts for the smooth opening of Arai Hajar Bangladesh Special Economic Zone. But it's very important that the government will provide wonderful incentives, good one-stop service, also to maintain the great facility, great infrastructure in special economic zones.
Lots of Japanese investors working in this project.
Yes,
special economic zone.
Yes.
It's really appreciated.
Another option open to Japanese companies to come to Bangladesh, because this is a frontier of investment. And if you talk about the production cost, the Bangladesh provides the best investment environment.
Right.
So maybe you need some more deregulation, some more regulatory effort, so incentives and so forth, because
lots of tax package, tax holidays.
Exactly, because this is very competitive field.
Right.
So Bangladesh is competing with neighboring countries, not to mention India, but countries like Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, those countries in ASEAN. So you're competing with those countries.
Right.
So in order to attract FDIs, in order to bring a supply chain to this country, you have to win this competition.
Right.
Then policy-wise, incentive-wise, you have to be a better destination of FDIs. I think that is something you could be more mindful of.
Right. You know, the Bangladesh is very disaster-prone country geographically, and we are playing as a role model all over the world on disaster management sector. So, how do you think that what can we do for both Bangladesh and Japan for developing more disaster management in Bangladesh?
I think on this issue of disaster management prevention, I must say that we commend Bangladesh. Yes, you are disaster-prone countries. Japan is also disaster-prone countries, but you are really managing the casualties due to disaster to a very minimum. So even one cyclone hits, the number of casualties, the recent one is just around the 10 people. But unfortunately in Japan, almost every year, we have more than, say, 10, close to 50 people are killed by natural disaster, heavy rain, torrential rain, as well as typhoon, not to mention earthquake and tsunami. So in spite of the difficulties, in spite of constraint, you have built a good system to manage and prevent the natural disaster from having too severe impact on the economy and society. I think that is something we really would like to commend what Bangladesh government and people achieved over those many, many years. And Japan has been cooperating with Bangladesh in this field too, by constructing some those radar system to focus weather in order to grasp the cyclone emergence and move. The series of cooperation Japan did in terms of radar construction must have been very important assistance, but you have been making the most of the cooperation from the Japanese side. But from now on, I think you really need to continue to do some effort. And we need to continue to provide the cooperation. So in order to meet your, say, Delta Plan 2100 and so forth, so very important to, say, cope with the situation in Howrah area, even to see the flow of big river, how you can manage that. Also, climate change is another issue. So how you can protect your coastline, how you can cope with the rise of sea level. So those are the issues between Japan and Bangladesh. We need to come up with a better cooperation. I have been to St. Martin Island once, so November last year, and I realized that the climate change is having some severe impact on place like St. Martin Island. So we would be willing to discuss how we can cooperate in disaster prevention area, as well as climate change adaptation for the benefit of Bangladesh economy and society.
What is your exactly suggestion to improve the disaster management sector in Bangladesh?
I think you need to have a human resources development. You need to have even large number of resources who know how to manage disaster, how to prevent disaster. Also, there is some international effort like this Sendai framework, which Japan came up with international community. I'm sure that most of your experts are familiar with Sendai framework. And also this build back better, how you can build back better after this particular natural disaster hit the country. I think those are the things that you should learn more. But we are ready to collaborate and cooperate with the Bangladesh side on this disaster prevention and management sector as well.
How do you see our relations evolving next 50 years?
I don't think we should be complacent about what we achieved over the last 50 years. Our partnership is excellent.
Right.
So we are true friends. But still, we need to continue to try hard. It's like rickshawala is riding on the uphill upslope. You need to make a constant effort. So, but I'm sure that we'll be able to see mutually beneficial partnership, particularly after you graduate from LDC status. I think our relationship should not be, say, donor and recipient. So you can stand on a more the mutually beneficial ground. So I know that you are showing really wonderful role when you organized this celebration, twin celebration last year. You clearly showed by inviting 5 leaders in the region that Bangladesh is now leading the effort of regional trade, regional the connectivity. Dhaka was the center of regional diplomacy for 10 days, March last year. Clearly that showed your, say, tenure, stature in the region was enhanced. Japan would be happy to cooperate with Bangladesh so that Bangladesh will be able to play even larger role in the region. So our cooperation of mega infrastructure project, Big B initiative, those are very important for the economic development of Bangladesh, as well as for the Bangladesh will play even bigger role in the region. Because, say, Matabali is a project for regional connectivity.
Right.
So Matabali can connect every corner of subcontinent as well as with littoral nations in ASEAN countries. So Matabali will really open up economic possibility and fulfill Bangladesh economic potential. So Japan will continue to provide the cooperation for Bangladesh to meet their requirement of further growth. Until the day Bangladesh fulfills this Vision 2041, Bangladesh fulfills the dream vision of Bangabandhu, Unnoyone Bangla, Japan will continue to be the best development partner for Bangladesh. And also young generation are really interested in Japanese culture, like anime, even Japanese food and so forth. So this is very, very heartening that younger generation Bangladesh are still looking at Japan, still eager to learn from Japan.
Yes.
So I'm sure that the younger generation will be the torchbearer of our cooperation towards the future.
Yes, we all love Japan.
Thank you so much.
Japan's a really good country and Japanese people also good. Your Excellency, thanks for joining with us and really it was a good time. Could you please tell something about our ATN Bangla audience?
ATN Bangla honored me with this wonderful development award last year. I was so thrilled and happy to receive the award. This is really wonderful that ATN Bangla, as a first channel in Bangladesh, it must have been very difficult to start this satellite channel business 25 years ago. But ATN Bangla has been very, very successful TV channel here in Bangladesh. I know there are lots of viewers who are enjoying and appreciating the programs in ATN Bangla. I'm sure that ATN Bangla will have a very, very good future to attract even larger number of audience. And I hope that through ATN Bangla, the audience and Bangladesh people will learn more about Japan, will get more interest in Japan, and will be inspired even to visit Japan, study in Japan, to build even better cooperation and partnership between Japan and Bangladesh.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Really it was appreciated. দর্শক, সময় স্বল্পতার কারণে আজ এখানেই বিদায় নিতে হচ্ছে। আবার দেখা হবে আগামী পর্বে। সবাই ভালো থাকুন, সুস্থ থাকুন। এটিএন বাংলার সাথেই থাকুন। আল্লাহ হাফেজ।